Hey everyone, SuperShadix Boom here, and let's give a round of applause to Jakks Specific for a not scuffed release. That's right, not scuffed release here. I've seen a multitude of people getting these figures all over the place, which is definitely compared to the complete disaster that was Wave 3's release. Heck, I've even seen people who have never seen a Jakks product in Target in their entire life finding these figures. Before you go and tell me how you literally cannot find these figures anywhere and how much your Target is garbage and hates you and Jakks Specific hates you too. Yeah, I know the pain. It's just basically part of the process at this point. I know what you're going through. Again, I had to deal with Wave 1 and Wave 3. All I can really say is that it'll come eventually. There's a lot of Targets in this country and a lot of figures that have to get there. These toys aren't just going to pop up at your Target or every single Target in the country all at once. It's going to take its toll. Just be fortunate and glad that we even have the luxury to go to Target every day and not find Sonic toys. It's far worse in other countries. I'm just really glad and fortunate that I found these figures as quick as I did. When I first got to my Target, they just had Super Shadow, which shocked me, and then I just asked if they had any in the back, and boom, classic Sonic and Tails, here we are. And this current wave is consisting of 2 variants, 1 re-release, and 1 original figure. Jeez, the amount of new figures is just dwindling, isn't it? Alright, with that being said, let's move on to the brand new Tails figure. The painting and sculpting on this figure is really good. The main body is just the standard Jakks figure, so of course it's gonna be good. I just have minor quality control errors, mainly on Tails' face. There's just a lot of weird gunk and just paint chips on my figure. The eyes mainly have it the worst, and there is a little paint chipping in his ears. The main takeaway for this figure is obviously those new tails. It's kind of like the 2.5 inch Wave 3 tails, except it doesn't have that swooshing effect, but it still looks really good and the figure balances nicely still. And it's glad to see that Jakks Specific is keeping up with consistency. As for articulation, every Jakks Specific figure has pretty much the same articulation system. Is it just tiresome hearing me say the head is on a peg so it can swivel, universal joints in the shoulder so it can hinge in and out, swivel, and hinge up and down, ball joint in the wrist, universal joints in the thighs as well so they can kick forward and backwards, swivel, and move side to side, a pegged hinge in the knee so it can bend and swivel as well, and a ball joint in the ankle. Every single video. The only exception being Tails, because his tails are attached via pegs so they can also swivel. So I actually kind of messed up my figure detaching the tails. I do not recommend you guys do this if you get this figure. I did it so you don't have to. As for Tails' accessory, he comes with awesome, an accessory I already have. It looks just as good as the original spring. Has a cool star on top and a stripe around it. Oh, maybe that's the difference. Oh wait, the original has a line there too. Oh, but this one is thicker, completely new. The first accessory is irrelevant. Fuck Wave 1. Okay, let's move on to Shadow. The painting and sculpting on this figure is fantastic. He looks really good, and it's blatantly obvious that this is just the exact same figure as Wave 1 Shadow, so I'm not really sure what else I can say about it. Unlike Super Sonic, despite having the same body as the rest of the Sonic figures, he has an amazing, gorgeous head sculpt to boot. Shadow, it's like they literally just took the Wave 1 figure, just squirted some mustard on it, and blam, new figure. To be fair, the Wave 1 Shadow is still a good figure. I really love those hand sculpts. And the shade of yellow, I honestly don't have a problem with it. I know people prefer that mainly creamy borderline white look for Super Shadow, but I honestly don't mind the yellow, and it's actually a very, very, very slight different shade of yellow. You just kind of have to like hyper focus to see the difference in shades. Shadow's a little lighter. It's mostly noticeable in person. I'm not sure if I'm picking it up on camera. So yeah, it's still a pretty good contrast to the regular Shadow. The only part of yellow I don't like with this figure are on the wristbands and ankles, which I do think is a complete nerf compared to the metallic gold wristband and ankle bracelets used for Shadow. At least since all of these are on ball joints, you can just pop them off and plop them on Super Shadow, and boy, this looks fantastic. He has the same articulation as well, but he has much tighter joints, which makes him better. Unlike Wave 1 Shadow's floppy ass, to be fair, I did kind of fuck it up with that hairdryer. Shadow also comes with the red Chaos Emerald. I really don't know what else to say. It's cool and red. It's just the same molding as every other Chaos Emerald, again, just casted in red, so yeah, it looks good, but it's just a Chaos Emerald. Alright, lastly here, we're topping it off with the brand new classic Sonic 4-inch figure. And the painting and sculpting on Classic Sonic is freaking great. My figure has some weird black splotches on the tip of his foot for some reason though. And there is kind of a rocky transition from his belly to the rest of his body. But overall, the paint still looks really good. There is one very odd sculpting choice with this figure. Can you tell what it is? Yeah, his head has this weird tilt to it, and it's not like the peg in the body is messing up. No, that's how it looks at every angle you put the head in. And that's simply because the hole in the head is not centered at all. It's actually placed to the right, which is just a very bizarre design choice to me. I don't see what the problem would be with having the hole in the center like literally every figure in this line. So since the neck plugs into the side of the head, that means the other side is just lopsided and kind of just in that little tilted looking notion. Alright, so let's finally address the mouth on the head. And to be honest, it looks really good from the front and even a little decent if you look at it from the side, but when you completely just glance right at it, it's really bizarre. It's obviously mouth detailing, but who the hell smiles like this? I know some people like smile while showing their teeth when they're laughing, but who the hell smirks to the side with their teeth showing and their mouth still open? It's really not that bad. It's just kind of a weird design, but I can stick with it. And the rest of the body sculpt looks freaking fantastic. I especially love how the head looks. They really did an excellent job with it. Besides that weird neck hole positioning they went with. And the hand sculpts are actually identical to the rest of the modern Sonic figures. One thing that's kind of bizarre looking as well is look how close those knee joints are to the ankles. His legs are actually shorter than Mighty's. The knees still properly work though, so it's not that big a deal, just a weird oddity I wanted to point out. He also has a ball joint in the foot. And damn, this classic Sonic figure looks really good with Mighty. But one thing I'm kind of hating with these classic figures is just how bad their sense of balance is. They have bigger feet, but it's also conjoined with their rounder body and big heads. Compared to the modern figures, which do have smaller feet and they are still pretty top heavy with their heads, but with a little finagling you can always find their sense of balance. To get these figures standing, they basically have to be leaning like Michael Jackson, as opposed to the modern figures which stand straight just fine. Of course, as long as they have knees that can support them. Classic Sonic's accessory, he comes with another spring. And I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty good spring and it's probably the best spring in my opinion. The sculpt is really good, it's just gray and red, nothing wrong with that. It kind of seems to be the same molding as the spring that comes with a playset. Of course, the obvious difference is the top being red as opposed to the green home playsets being yellow. And it's also flat in the bottom. Both these tops can actually pop off of the bases, but if you're thinking you can swap them, yeah, that's honestly not going to work. The hole for the yellow cap is actually quite big, so it kind of fits loosely on top of the red one. And the peg for the yellow spring is a lot thicker, so it can't even be plugged into the red piece. But still, it's a really nice accessory, and I kind of wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. So that was wave 4 of the 4-inch figures from Jakks Pacific, and not gonna lie, it's a pretty solid release. These figures turned out really well, and I just love the evolution of Jakks, how after about wave 2 and up, the figures have just been getting way more solid and tighter joints, and I just love it. The Tails figures has always been good, and those new Tails are a pretty cool upgrade. I do like it more than the standard Tails figure, if I'm honest. Super Shadow is another solid release. Yeah, it is just a yellow version of a previous figure, but again, the better joints just make me love it even more than the original. But please, Jakks Pacific, give us a new Shadow figure with better joints and gritting teeth. It's kind of ironic how Classic Sonic completely murdered Wave 3's release, but for Wave 4, this is the best figure in my opinion. And if you are thinking about only picking one of these figures, I would say go with Classic Sonic. It just depends on how badly you need/want the Super Shadow and Tails figure. Actually, I'd only say get the Tails figure if you don't have them already. Those new Tails are pretty cool, but the standard figure is just fine too. So yeah, Wave 4 is a solid release with some pretty good figures and awesome accessories to boot. And again, all these figures are just $10, which is quite a steal. They would look great in any kind of collection or display you want to put them in. So that's going to be it for the review of Wave 4 of the 4-inch figures from Jakks Pacific. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And what are your thoughts on Wave 4? I'd love to know. And if you want to go the extra mile, be sure to share this video with a friend you think would enjoy it. Bye! Thanks for watching!